Good morning.
Good morning, Your Majesty. It's a great honour for the armed forces that you've taken the time to meet some of our people serving around the world. Now, I think these three individuals, Your Majesty, give you a snapshot of the breadth of activity that Your Majesty's armed forces are engaged in around the world today. If it pleases Your Majesty, can I start by introducing you to able seaman Sophie Levy, who will be able to tell you what life is like on her very first operational deployment as an aircraft handler on board RFA Argus.
Majesty, good morning.
Good morning. So this is your first deployment, is it?
It is, Your Majesty. I am a Naval Airman aircraft handler. I deliver ground support for the helicopters and I get them ready for flying stations. And this involves moving the ship's tractor, moving the helicopters onto their spots. I'm also a fire suitman. This is our primary safety critical role of firefighting. So in the event of a crash on deck or any emergency, I'm first on the scene, ready to fight the fire.
Sounds as though you're rather busy.
I definitely am, ma'am.
And where are you at the moment?
I'm currently in Curacao at the moment, ma'am.
So you've been travelling in the Caribbean, have you?
Yeah, we have, ma'am. We've more or less gone round most of the Caribbean now. We've gone past Montserrat, the British Virgin Islands, and it's been absolutely incredible seeing all these different places.
Well, I would think the last time I saw you, you wouldn't have imagined that this is what you'd be doing now. At Hollyport we met.
Yeah, it was, ma'am. In 2014, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. And then you were the Lord Lieutenant's cadet, weren't you?
I was, ma'am. I was involved in Sea Cadets for a good 6 years.
So that gave you an opening into the Navy?
Yeah, it definitely gave me an insight, ma'am, and it gave me the confidence and the experience that I need to pursue my career in the Royal Navy.
Yeah, that's very good. How splendid.
The other thing, Your Majesty, that Argus will be doing later this year, of course, is the hurricane season is coming. So we have a couple of ships there, and I think that there's a potential for able seaman Levy to be even more busy in a moment.
Yes, because the hurricane season is about to upon us, isn't it? I'm afraid.
Yeah, it is, ma'am. I believe it started in July.
Shall we turn, Your Majesty, to Colonel Terry, who can give you a bit of a feel for what it's like in Mali, whilst we've got him on the line.
In spite of the thunderstorms.
Good afternoon, Your Majesty. Yes, in spite of the thunderstorms, which pleasantly started at 4 a.m. this morning, so a nice early start for us in Bamako this morning, ma'am.
And how long have you been out in Mali?
I deployed at the end of November, ma'am. So I've been out here for Christmas, Easter, and the summer, and I'm aiming to go back towards the end of August.
And you haven't seen your family since then?
No, ma'am. No, unfortunately, the COVID crisis has meant that the rest and recuperation flights have been put on hold. And I'm working with the United Nations at the moment, so that we also have to apply by their rules. And to keep both Mali and the UK safe, we remained here throughout. So I'm afraid my wife has been slightly abandoned with our two young children.
And she works for the NHS?
She's training nurses and other healthcare professionals to move those that are returning to practice, going back into nursing during the crisis, and also that have been doing other jobs within the NHS, giving them the necessary skills to go and work in the frontline hospitals. So she's been pretty busy between that and looking after the children, I'm afraid.
I'm sure, without you. And what do you do in Mali?
General Nick mentioned that we've got a British unit out in December, and they'll be doing some reconnaissance for us. But the United Nations mission is a multinational, global team out here, and I work in a team with lots of different nations as the strategic planner. So we get orders, direction from New York, and then I try and turn that into military speak for our units. We've just had our new mandate, and we're definitely focused on implementing and enforcing the peace agreement, while also supporting the government of Mali to stabilise the central area of Mali. Mark.
Shall we move to
Yes.
Lance Corporal Stevens, who is speaking from his home in Lincoln, and what he'll do, I hope, is to describe his life as a member of the Queen's Colour Squadron, and also he'll be able to tell you the times that he's had the honour to be on parade in your presence, Your Majesty.
So how long have you been in the Colour Squadron?
I've been on the Queen's Colour Squadron now for 8 years, Your Majesty.
8?
Yes, ma'am.
Really? So you know the form quite well?
Yes, I've done more than my share of ceremonial duties on the Queen's Colour Squadron. I've done the Festival of Remembrance, I've done the RF 100 Parade, I've done State Opening of Parliament, I've done Changing of the Guard, so I know it quite well.
Yes, I can imagine.
I've performed in front of you 2 or 3 times now, so.
You must have done, yes. Indeed.
So I'm the pilot for the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Gosh, sounds a very dangerous job.
It can be quite dangerous, but we try to mitigate any sort of danger. And being professional athletes, we tend to keep on forerunners as best as we can.
So how do you train?
So during the lockdown, unfortunately, with all the gyms and everything closed,
Yes.
we had to sort of resort to unorthodox sort of training methods. So I've been pushing a car up and down the street. I've had to make a gym.
Well, I suppose that's one way to train.
Yeah, so that's definitely one way to train, Mum.
And do you get back home to Jamaica to train with the team?
Yeah, so we hold a training camp. We try to hold a training camp at least once a year. So there should be another training camp again in September. So I'm hoping to fly out for that training camp just before we start competing again for the season.
Bad luck that everything has been cancelled too, isn't it, for such a long time?
Yes, but hopefully things are slowly starting to get back together, and we'll hopefully be able to get a full competitive season in.
I hope so. Yes. Well, it's very interesting to hear how far spread everybody is in different places.
Yes, it's just a bit of a snapshot, Your Majesty, because as you'll appreciate, we could go further afield. We were slightly nervous about the technology. It's interesting how well the technology works from the Caribbean on board the Argus.
Yes, very good. Well, I must say, it's very interesting to hear about all those deployments. And obviously, everybody's been extremely busy with the pandemic, haven't they? And doing a wonderful job. Well, I'm very glad to have been able to meet all of you, and the best of luck.